Yes, yes, yes. What is up? What is up, Mixed Combat Radio family? It's here, guys. It's official. Even though Gary still wants to hate on it, Earl Spence, Terrence Crawford. Okay. We said there's only one fight that could supplant Tank Davis, Ryan Garcia as the mega fight of the year. And they made it like a week after that fight. I feel like that was kind of a dick move by them, low key. But digressing, a lot to get into on today's show. We have fights this last weekend. Mauricio Lara lost, and he looked horrendous. It was very depressing. Luis Alberto Lopez knocked out Michael Conlan into another dimension, and that was rather fun to watch. That was good. Claressa Shields, obviously this weekend, versus Marcelo Cornejo. I'm kind of excited for that fight. I'm always excited for Claressa Shields, but like that matchup doesn't do much for me.
Spicy.
Yeah,
It's a little spicy.
Like, we're gonna get into it. And like I said at the top, Spence Crawford's official. I'm excited for it. David Benavidez, his team has sent an offer to Canelo Alvarez. They sent one last year for actually more money, so we're gonna get into maybe why that is. And why is this one less money? Is it maybe
why it's gaining more popularity? I think it's a little bit louder this year than the one from last year.
Yeah,
It caused quite a stir last year.
No, not at all.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, because they offered him money for Charlo, Spence, and David Benavidez, meaning PBC. So we're getting into it. A lot to get into. I am Matthew Hunter, obviously Matt Hunter, MCR, all social media platforms, links down below in the description. And I'm joined by two lovely co-hosts. First up, the one and only Melody Joy from the Beauty of Boxing. Melody, how are you?
Good. How are you guys?
Just fantastic. I thought it was Adrian Broner fight week, and it's not. They moved it to next week.
My hopes up a little bit, you know?
ESPN has it listed for this weekend. BoxRec has it listed for next weekend.
Just ready to rep for AB.
I blame Mike Coppinger, but anyways.
The
the other host of this lovely show, the one and only Gary in Dallas. Gary, how are you?
I'm good. So Steve Claggett just iced Alberto Machado. If you guys watched that top ranked card in Canada on ESPN.
That happened today?
That's just happened 10 minutes before the show started.
Oh, I didn't see Machado get knocked out. That's sad.
He got iced by Steve Claggett, who's a B level, C level contender for years.
That's being generous.
Canadian guy. Yeah, it's being generous. Ice, beat him down. And I just saw that Super Mario Brothers movie.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's good. It's one big running stereotype of Italians.
So you loved it.
Gary loved you.
You love it.
It was okay.
And he was like, I feel like out of my home.
I feel seen.
Somebody notices it.
Like when Black Panther came out and like everyone like dressed up and like the dashikis and everything.
They were ready.
Gary came in there with a fucking, I don't know what they were in
the
Italy.
next time he's ready to go.
He combed his hair back with some gel,
He walked out of the theater.
He was excited, man.
Cool.
He ate some pasta
I haven't
that
seen
night.
it, so don't tell me what happens. The kids keep trying.
We did see Guardians of the Galaxy. That was good.
Yes.
It was very good.
Sad.
The music kind of sucked, but
I saw the Foreman movie too a couple weeks ago. Big George. Have you guys seen that?
no, because like the allegations of his sexual misconduct came out like right when we were like talking about going to see it, and it was like, maybe let's not go watch this movie. We can wait till it's on like a streamer,
It's free.
You have to go pay
The
for it.
storyline was good. Rocky 2 had better fight scenes and better effects. It looked like a movie a third grader made for his school project. The storyline was good though.
Oh no!
People ask me, "Is it good?" It's like, well, what do you mean by good?
It's all relative, right?
Yeah.
Oh, so everybody must have been paid for all those nice little.
I feel like, sorry, just to get back to boxing away from movies, because I can talk about movies all day. You know me. I feel like we shouldn't spend too much time diving into each fight card last week. Let me just rattle off some of the notable decisions, and we can sort of touch on what we want to talk about and highlight. First up, obviously, Mauricio Lara did not defeat Lee Wood this time, and looked pretty bad. Obviously, I know
did he show up on weight.
I know Gary has some hot takes about that. Jack Catterall picked up a win. Terry Harper picked up a win as well. That's about it for notable fights on that card. I mean, I should be wrong. Sorry, Gary's favorite mans in the world,
God, stop
Campbell
it. I was just
Hatton,
gonna
picked up a
stop.
big win as well, guys. So I know Gary wants to talk about that ad nauseum. Alexis Rocha also picked up a very nice KO win. Honestly, one of the better KOs of the year.
Yes.
In a card that wasn't that good. Eric Priest, a guy that we know, local guy, he got a win.
And
that's all I'll say.
I like Oscar Duarte. You know.
Yeah, I mean, there's some guys I like on the card, but like, it's not a deep card.
No.
It's kind of an example of maybe Golden Boy being very shallow in depth now.
It was in Indio, my hometown.
Also back across the pond over in
The UK. No,
I'll say Northern Ireland.
I was gonna say, I don't want to get in trouble.
I still be specific and appease the UK people, but it's not really part of the UK.
No, don't appease.
It shouldn't be part of the UK.
Ireland
And the colonialism. Digressing. Michael Conlan did not be successful though. That it was a rough night for him and the Irish people. Let's be quite honest. He got knocked out in vicious fashion by Luis Alberto Lopez. Great uppercut as well. I mean, there's not much on that card. Maybe like Nick Ball, he looked really good in his fight, but nothing much on that card as well. That's about it for this last weekend of fights. Does anyone want to touch on stuff? I know Gary maybe wants to say how he thinks Mauricio Lara was a dive. Dun 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 dun. Maybe. I don't know. Gary, thoughts?
That was more suspicious than that looked like Josh Cloudy fighting Pacquiao. It's like when you hit him, you were having success. Why didn't you throw any punches? Mauricio Lara threw no punches, and I still thought like I had it down 6-3 going into the 10th. Which means okay, if he wins the rest of these rounds, this is going to be interesting on the cards. And he won none of them, and he threw no punches, and that was a ridiculous performance. Well, look, he missed weight, so he gave up his belt on the scale, and then he went into the fight and threw no punches. So, something stinks about that fight, man. Like that stings way more to me than the Devin Haney scorecards. Like those are reasonable outside of one round.
I can find sense in those.
Like this one, this looked like Josh.
No.
What happened to Josh Cloudy after he fought Pacquiao? He disappeared for like 5 years. We'd never to be seen again. Took his millions and bounced.
It's like
Wait, hold on. Is Lee Wood black?
What?
Because polymonology. I thought you.
Oh yeah.
Hey,
I'm confused here.
You cannot.
Paulie, the theory broke down instantly, I feel like. It was weird. I mean, I don't know if it was like suspicious.
It wasn't suspicious. For me, it wasn't suspiciously weird. It was just a horribly weak performance. And
Lara does have up and down nights. Like Laura's not the most consistent fighter, if we're being quite honest.
He's a pressure fighter. Like he's a pressure fighter. Like, where's the pressure?
Do we want to? I mean, not to make excuses for the guy, but like he missed weight. Was he out of shape? Did he not train well for this one? That's why he didn't have cardio in this fight, because his cardio was absolutely gone very quickly. Like Gary said, like he didn't seem to have either the willpower or the cardio to throw combinations.
After his last fight, he gained a lot of weight.
He did in the offseason?
Yeah, he always does, but like this last time he did gain a lot of weight and like he's always been inconsistent in the gym and stuff, so I can see how this could happen. I don't want to be like, it's rigged, the system is rigged, you know.
You don't have a Paulie moment? It's okay. It's okay.
No.
I don't think it was as suspicious as that one stoppage by 20 weeks. Like that to me was
that was ridiculous.
That was
absurd.
Maybe because it's like in our face, like right there, it makes it more like obvious because like he didn't land a punch and they stopped the fight, right? This fight was a guy that didn't throw any punches in a fight, and you're not questioning why did he not throw his normal amount, his average amount. I don't know. Steroids allegedly.
I didn't
say that either. Allegedly. Maybe he was off cycle. Allegedly. Yeah. It happens. It happens, guys. It happens.
What can we say?
Not much on that.
Yeah. So what do you think's gonna happen?
Lee Wood versus obviously Luis Alberto Lopez next. I think Lee Wood can win that one though. I'll be honest. Luis Alberto Lopez is so defensively flawed.
He is, and Lee Wood did an astonishing rematch. Yes. I think he really adapted to Lara, and Laura had no idea what the fuck he was doing. I mean,
Leewood has enough
whatever.
power.
But
that's
that was
respectable too.
the power was very nice. Very nice. So going into that, I still think Lopez is gonna
win.
Yeah.
I know Gary thinks the same.
I back in 2018, maybe 2019, I want to say, Luis Alberto Lopez fought this kid Ray Jimenez from Dallas on a Roy Jones Jr. card that was on like UFC Fight Pass, right? Small little card in this Washington casino, like state of Washington casino, little casino. And Ray was supposed to beat him up, supposed to be a test, right? And he beat Ray, right? And then he went on and he fought Ruben Villa, and then he lost a really close decision to Ruben Villa. Like, wow, this kid's pretty good. And then he just went on and he beat Gabe Flores, and he beat Andy Vences, and he beat Isaac Lowe, and he kept destroying people. I think he's another undefeated prospect in there too. He's the most underrated guy in the sport because how he makes it look ugly, right? Like, he is defensively flawed. He leaves himself open, but he keeps throwing punches, right? So yes, he can be countered, but he's throwing 3-4 punches at a time. So he's not really like, yes, he's like when he throws like the left, he throws it wide, and then he throws a right over the top, and he leaves himself wide open. But there's just punches coming behind it, and he throws everything in bunches. He's not easy to deal. He obviously has pop. Like, clearly he's got pop. He's just not an easy guy to deal with. The only guy I think who might be able to beat him at 26 is Figueroa, just because Figueroa is going to match him for volume. Like, that would be one of the most incredible fights that you can make right now. But I really think that this guy's one step away from being on pound for pound list. I asked the matchmaker who made that fight with Ray Jimenez, right? Guy Taylor. He does the pro box fights now, right? He makes a lot of those. I said, do you have any idea this guy could be a world champion? Okay, he's like, no, I'm going to lie to you and tell you I thought he could be a world champion. No, I got him to lose to Ray Jimenez. Like, to give him work and lose to him, right? Like, no. But I really think this is like one of the great stories. This kid came from nowhere to be a world champion. Like, he's been a B-side, and he just kept winning and winning and winning and winning and winning. Like, he went up to 130 to be dog food for Gabe Flores and destroyed Gabe Flores, right? Like, I mean, there's something special about this kid. And they should put his sister on TV a little more.
I was looking back at my photos like 3-4 years ago, and bam, of Mr. Heartbreaker, and the sister got to say that's one good-looking freaking family. Just gonna throw it out.
Omar's not gonna lie.
Don't talk about Omar. I love him.
Digressing.
Omar Figueroa or Omar Juarez?
Figueroa.
Oh, you're talking about Omar Figueroa's sister?
Figueroa.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. But she mentioned Brandon Figueroa, the Heartbreaker. Come
That's
on.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Sorry.
Yes. Come on, Gary. Keep up.
Come on, I thought you were from Texas, Gary. I thought you'd get it.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I should have. I got that.
Right over here, right?
That's the Heartbreaker.
Fights coming up this weekend. There's nothing really much. There's a Marv Nation card. Shout out to somebody that you've worked with in the past.
Where's it?
Pachanga.
Oh, Temecula. San Diego.
Look who's fighting. La Cobra.
Oh, Cobra.
Adelaide Ruiz. Yes. Lawrence King on the card as well. Somebody else we've worked with before. That's about Eduardo Baez. One of the Baez's.
There's a name.
I did see.
Yeah.
And Jonathan Lopez.
Yeah, not much there. And obviously the sort of marquee event of this weekend, the only card of note, Claressa Shields versus Marcela Cornejo. I feel like Claressa Shields is probably going to win every round, pretty dominant. She's not going to be able to put out Cornejo because Shields doesn't have that power. But Shields is going to, I think, really display her boxing ability here, box circles around her opponent, and again, win every round, if not every second of every round. Like, I think this is going to be an utterly dominant performance where we might actually get a corner stoppage or them being like almost like Lomachenko.
No way.
Yes.
No way.
If at 8 rounds, Canelo's not doing anything.
Maddie's too built. No, she's
I don't
been
know.
through this.
Claressa Shields is just as big.
I don't think we'll get a TKO or anything like that.
Think about this. There's no way with Shields' glam up right now that she loses bad or that she looks bad.
Well, no way. I'm not saying she has to look bad at all because she looks freaking glam. The new look is fabulous. I love the teeth.
There's not much else on the card. Wendy Toussaint, Haitian fighter that we know, he's on the card.
He's in a big matchup. Like this kid he's fighting is from Detroit or whatever. Like he's a hometown fighter. He's supposed to be good. Like I would keep an eye on that fight as a low key kind of sleeper fight. Like that's a good fight.
No, it's in Detroit.
Oh, it's in. I don't know why that's in the UK.
We even talked about it earlier today. Remember? I had to look it up.
No.
Because Cliff Shields opting for Flint, Michigan. Flint, Michigan is right. It's
close,
right around the corner from Detroit.
Yeah. You're right.
So it's sort of a low key hometown fight for Cliff Shields. The fighter you mentioned, Andreal Holmes Jr., the guy fighting Wendy Toussaint, he's also from Flint, Michigan, like Cliff Shields. So, like you said, Gary, maybe one to pay attention to, so to speak. But obviously, Gary, the news that everyone wants to talk about, Spence Crawford, it's happening. It's official.
We knew that last week, but
yes, our source was correct. Suck it, Mike Coppinger. We knew before you.
We just couldn't say anything because we're smart.
And we
if
didn't.
Michael Coppinger doesn't know, he just makes it up.
Right, and we're poor.
And
we're poor.
But I mean, I kind of thought this fight was going to happen. It seemed like both teams were so quiet that it felt like something was brewing.
Right.
The fact that Crawford especially was so quiet for so long,
and both
that
of
felt
them kind of
abnormal.
left just a little bit of breadcrumbs. I think each one of them on their Instagram or Twitter or whatever.
Yes.
But it was just a little subtweet, boop, just giving us hope.
And
it paid off, my friends.
I think there was a two-way rematch clause, 60-40 split for Earl Spence. It will get flipped if Crawford wins in the rematch. I mean, I like the fight. I mean, obviously, it's one of the biggest fights people have been talking about for some time. I have heard a little bit of chatter of like it's already over the hill, like when we wanted it, a la like Mayweather Pacquiao, but that turned out to be one of the biggest fights ever. So I think this is going to do pretty big, like blockbuster numbers. Like this should eclipse Tank Ryan. Both guys have been much more in the mainstream sporting sort of ecosystem for a longer time. I mean, Crawford had the HBO push. He had the ESPN push. Spence had NBC Olympic push. Spence has had CBS. He's had Showtime, obviously. He's had Fox.
I have one question, though. Isn't Fulton Inoue that week?
Yes.
So you don't think that's going to have any effect at all on the numbers?
Why would it?
I'm just saying. Well, everybody, it should, because in my opinion, Inoue, love you, Bobo Kitty, is the most amazing fighter in the world.
And Fulton's going to beat him. Let me ask you this question.
Fulton's going to beat him.
The winner of Fulton Inoue.
Imagine I have to erase my tattoo and put Fulton. Sweetheart, that's not happening.
The winner of Fulton Inoue or the winner of Crawford Spence, who goes higher on your pound for pound list?
If it's Inoue beating Fulton, he goes higher.
Yes.
If Fulton beats Inoue, he doesn't go higher on your list. He beat Inoue and Brandon Figueroa. That's pretty good,
He's
man.
on the list. He's not on my top 10 list.
He's not on my list right now either, but he's getting close.
Steven Fulton.
Oh.
He's not on my top 10 list. So
he's on my top 10. He's close. It's probably 13, 14, like that.
You can't go from outside the top 10 to number
top
one.
3.
Number one.
Silly.
No. And Inoue is not even solidified in the number one spot right now.
That's just my heart, Gary.
If Inoue wins, that's his what? 4th, 5th? How many weight classes?
I think it's his 5th weight class.
He skipped 108, right? So it was, skip 112, 108, 115, 18. I don't know. Yeah, it's a lot. He'll probably, if he beats Fulton, I'll put him at number 1. If Fulton beats Inoue, he just beat Inoue, bro. He's got to be in your top 5. He beat Inoue.
No.
He's got wins over Figueroa and Inoue. Like, he's got to be in your top 5. Like, that's a really good resume.
He has a win over a guy that is Figueroa, okay? And then a win over a guy that's a pound-for-pound level guy, but a guy that started out at 108 pounds.
It's Inoue, bro. I just started out at 100. It's like saying if someone beat Floyd at 54, it's like, but that's a guy who started at 130. Come on, look who you're talking about. You're talking about a first bout, all-time great, one of the best little men ever. Right? Matt's not going to like this. He might be a better little man than Chocolatito.
If Chocolatito moved up to 118 or 122 and fought a champion there and beat him, would he automatically be pound for pound number
If
one?
Chocolatito went up and beat Inoue, yeah, he's number one pound for pound.
But Fulton's not Inoue. Do you understand? Like, there's a difference.
I don't know that there's a comparable at 118. If Chocolatito went up and beat a real legit 118 champion who we all respect, like a Stephen Fulton level guy, and Chocolatito went up and because I think he beat Estrada all 3 times. That's just me. Yeah, he would go real high on my pound for pound. I want to put him on my pound for pound list.
Garrett, your goalpost shifting here. You said number one. Did you not?
No, I said who goes higher on your list? The winner of Inoue Fulton or the winner of Crawford Spence?
Well, to me, this is a battle for pound number one status. The winner of Spence Crawford, pound for pound number one in my book. They jumped Canelo, who's a little bit lately, and we have no idea about Inoue Fulton. So that's true. So if Inoue comes out here and beats Fulton, and we're going into Spence Crawford, then there's no way Spence Crawford supplants Inoue. Correct? But if Fulton beat Inoue on, I think it's a Thursday night fight technically for us before the Saturday. And we go into Spence Crawford. The winner of Spence Crawford still should be higher than Stephen Fulton. Should they not? Their career, it's clearly better than Stephen Fulton.
But their career, okay, over the last 3-4 years, which is how I weight my pound for pound list, the last 3 years, who would have more good wins? Crawford or... Let's say Crawford wins. Who has more good wins, Crawford or Fulton?
Hold on, let me pull it up.
I don't have those bad dreams, Gary. I don't even think that way.
I don't have those bad dreams.
I just don't think that way altogether. Okay.
I just don't see how just 2 wins catapults you above people that are undefeated, active, multi-divisional champions. Fulton's not even a multi-divisional champion. He's won a belt in one division. Neither
is Spence, though. Spence is only won belts in one division too.
That's true. Good rebuttal there. Good rebuttal. But my rebuttal would be that Spence has been a long-reigning champion at 147.
Who doesn't fight? Yes, he's been a long-reigning champ. Look, I love him. He's on the wall. He fights once every year and a half, 2 years. He doesn't fight once a year. He doesn't. Since the Sean Porter fight, which was in 2019, right, he's fought twice.
Let's do a quick resume comparison. 5 years, you said, right?
3. I said 3 years.
Crawford is. Let me pull up on the screen too. Over here.
I said 3 years for the record.
We can all take a look together.
Yes. Terrence Crawford first, then we do Spence, and then we do Fulton. Okay. Last 5 years.
3 years. 3 years.
Oh, now you're.
You can play it back. I said 3 years. I said 3 years is how I wait. Your last 3 years is how I weigh your pound for pound.
Gary, the pandemic happened, bro.
Fulton still fought. Like, lots of guys still fought.
He's not a moneymaker. That's why he fought. Okay, last 3 years, I guess. So we're going to 2019 or 2020?
2020 to now.
Okay.
That's 3.5 years.
Just making sure. Kell Brook, Sean Porter, David Avanesian.
Wow. So, Sean Porter. Okay, it's a good win. Sean Porter's a good win.
It's better than Brandon Figueroa. Okay.
Ooh, I don't know. Figueroa is in his prime. Porter was old.
What prime? What has Brandon Figueroa done?
I mean, don't.
Brandon Figueroa is no good either?
I'm not saying he's no good. I'm just saying he's not better than Sean Porter.
Why does yours go upside down like that? Mine goes the other way around.
Because I'm on a different type of profile.
All right.
What do you mean?
We're on a promoter profile.
Oh, yeah.
So technically.
My bad.
Okay. This is fucked up, but it still beats. It still, I think, beats it. Danny Garcia or Adonis Ugas.
It's 2 fights. They're good wins. Those are good wins. It's 2 fights in 3.5 years. It's good. Those are both really high caliber wins. Great wins, both of them. It's 2 of them in 3.5 years. Like, if he wins, yeah, okay, that's 3 wins in 3.5 years. It's good.
Steven with the double E, or is this
no with a PH? With a PH.
Right there.
There we go. Okay. Danny Roman.
Whoa.
Former unified champ.
Yeah, former. Okay.
Amazing.
He's no Sean Porter. He's no Danny Garcia. He's no Adonis Ugas.
I was going to say amazing human being.
You can compare him to Ugas. He's comparable to Ugas.
I love Ugas.
One was an active champion at the time. Oh, no, because Ugas lost.
No, Ugas was an active champ. That's how Spence got the WBA. It was an active champ.
He was, okay. He was an active champion. Okay, not Daniel Roman. Then Brandon Figueroa. Angelo Leo.
And then you got K Guy, and
K-Guy.
and then before that, it's all tuna cans for the most part.
I mean,
1, 2, 3.
Angelo Leo was never a champion, right?
No.
Yeah, he was. He got the belt because Fulton got I can say cancer. Fulton got COVID, and Angelo Leo fought the Mighty Midget for the belt. Remember? And Angelo Leo won, so Angelo Leo picked up a vacant belt.
Oh, okay.
That's how he got it. Yeah.
That's it. Okay. And okay. I mean, the only thing is that it's more fights and only like one more fight. It's not like it's like 2 extra fights of like better opponents. It's one more fight, and it's Angelo Leo.
Now, in a way to that list.
Okay, a guy that ducked all 115, feasted on a weak division at 118. Okay,
Yeah, Inoue sucks. You're right, Matt. He blows.
Okay,
Inoue's trash, Matt. You're right.
Wow, I mean,
saying those things. Can you imagine mutter? Do you sleep at night?
yes,
Well,
yeah, totally, like a baby. You know this.
Ugh.
I snore happily, okay, with all this hate oozing off my body towards all of your favorite fighters. Yes.
What is your problem with Inoue now? Like, it's because is it like a Chocolatito beef? Like, who's the best little man? Is that what it is?
100% it, Gary.
All right, but shouldn't that beef be more directed at Estrada? Like, isn't it more directed at? I think Estrada got one ridiculous decision and one benefit of the doubt decision.
I mean, Estrada's whatever. I mean, at least he stayed in the division and tried to like claim his legacy amongst the greatest fighters in the low weight class. And Inoue were just like, I'm out of here.
He did. He skipped the best division in the sport. It's like if someone skipped 147, right, with all the names in it, Boots, Verge, and then the veterans, right, and went up to 154. You would question that person's motives, right? Like, why did you skip the best division? That's kind of what Inoue did. Like, 15 was loaded. He couldn't even fight a Josh Franco or something like that. Like, he skipped the whole weight class.
He was born.
And not only that, like, it's the timing of it.
You don't hear that? He was born the most gorgeous man alive.
Who was?
Inoue.
Is he really?
She's obsessed. She's obsessed.
All right.
This beautiful freaking man. I tattooed him on my body.
At least you don't have a height requirement like most girls do. That's good.
I'm 5 foot. Okay,
I'm 5 foot.
I'm 5 foot. I'm sure I'd be a
Are you 5 foot? Is that
if I was a little bit higher?
Here's the deal.
But I'm not.
Inoue ducked the division the second Rungsviai knocked out Chocolatito in front of him. Let's not forget that. Inoue was on the undercard of that rematch of Roman Gonzalez, Serkat Rungsviai at the
I was
at
there.
the stuff up. We were both there.
We were there.
Okay,
yes,
and we were all stunned, crying.
Yes.
Leaving that event.
Right.
Okay.
Nobody thought.
And Inoue was like terrified. He was like, I don't want any business with that Thai fighter that has hands of stone. No, fuck that. I'm gonna go up and fight in the World Boxing Super Series against guys that all suck. Okay. A Maloney brother, Emmanuel Rodriguez.
Emmanuel Rodriguez is my boy. You know I love Emmanuel Rodriguez.
But he's not good.
Yeah, he's not. He didn't really pan out like I thought he was. He's not that
good. The only guy that was good in that division was Nonito Donaire.
And we all thought he was shot. So yeah.
I was waiting for you because I was going to say, don't you dare slack on Nonito.
But he's also a guy that was super old.
And we thought was done. We thought that was why. I'm not going to lie. Everybody thought, why are you fighting?
Who did?
Past what?
Who did Donaire beat? That one guy that hurt his back. That was a really good fighter, and we all wanted him to keep fighting. And I think
the white British guy. He was good. He had 2 belts. Ryan Burnett. He never fought again, right? That was the last time he ever fought.
You retired from that, dude. He had a back injury against Donaire in the World Boxing Super Series, and that's how Donaire ended up in the finals.
I'm trying to remember. It's been a long time, but I'm trying to remember. Because I think
there
I can remember his
Ryan Burnett right there.
I know. I think I know. He's Scottish.
Boom, that guy.
Yes, he is, right?
No, Northern Irish.
Ah, okay. No, close. Close, but no cigar.
Yeah, I think he retired from that.
Oh, no.
It looks like he fought one going away fight. Yeah, he fought a bum, knocked him out, and that was the end of it. Yeah, so I guess whatever went wrong with his back is not really fixable, is what it looks like, because that guy was good.
Well, Nonito fucking ruined my guy's eye over here. You know what I mean?
Donaire does that, man. Donaire's
like,
So, yeah, back to your question, Gary. Crawford Spence winner, I think automatically due to just their longevity, due to their tenure in the sport, both being undefeated. The winner of that is pound for pound number one. Because right now, number one is
Usyk.
Canelo for me.
Okay.
Then Inoue.
Okay.
Then after that, it doesn't really matter. But I'm of the opinion that Stephen Fulton beats Inoue. So
it's so funny.
So I think Fulton will like all of a sudden be in pound for pound list, but he won't be number one. I think he shouldn't even be above like Jamel Charlo, to be quite honest. But
I'm not even gonna rank him.
out of spite,
I'm not going to.
It's tough because Charlo doesn't have a win anything like Inoue, like not even close. So it's like, how much do you rank that win over Inoue? Like,
but then
then
it's a little bit of like Loma Rigondeaux, where like people discredit that win completely due to the weight class jump. But for some reason, when other fighters do it, it doesn't matter.
People discredit that win, but they all picked Rigo to win, right? Like, I picked Rigo to win. I'm not going to discredit it. He beat Rigo. I picked Rigo to win.
But anyways, any other thoughts on Crawford Spence?
Oh, also, did y'all watch the Jake Paul prospect card on DAZN with Kevin Brown, the Cuban that beat Andy Cruz a bunch of times in the amateurs on Friday night?
Yes, we did watch that. That was that little card that we watched. Was it Friday night?
Morning?
It was Friday night. No, it was in the afternoon.
It was Friday night. It was
Friday night.
Saturday. We watched it on DAZN. Who was on that?
Kevin Brown, and then there was a guy, Silv, who was good from Long Beach.
Ashton from Long Beach.
Yeah, that guy was good, man. I liked him. I wasn't that impressed with Kevin Brown. But can we talk about Andy Cruz might be overrated?
No, I don't want to have that conversation, Gary.
Because that guy beat him a bunch of times in the amateurs. And yeah, I was not. I talked to Omar. Omar and him sparred a lot in this last camp because he's a Bob Santos guy too, Kevin Brown. And Omar said he was real good. He's got skills for days, but there's not much power. He doesn't really step on the gas. He doesn't really throw a bunch of shots. Like, I see him as an amateur standout who's not that good of a pro, honestly.
If he shines against Juan Carlos Burgos, are you going to take this back?
Burgos is a decent opponent.
For a first fight,
Tanahara schooled him.
Yeah, but that was Tanahara's 15th fight?
Probably around that, yeah.
This is Andy Cruz's first pro debut.
I'm not hating on Andy Cruz. I'm just saying, we might have set the bar a little ridiculously high when.
Oh no, you're right about that. No, you're right about he doesn't have power. He doesn't step on the gas. If he doesn't pan out in the pros, it actually shouldn't be that much of a surprise because of his style. But he was so good in the amateurs. He does have really good, phenomenal boxing skill and IQ. When you look at guys like Rigondeaux, even though he hasn't had the best of careers, right? He still made a career. They
didn't want to fight. They didn't want to fight him. Rigo's left hand is money, though. I don't know if Rigo's left hand is something else.
He's broken jaws and faces with that left hand. Andy Cruz doesn't have that, so it's harder. He's not even like Esmani Lara. Esmani Lara had
left hand is money too. Yeah.
Andy Cruz is a little more of the best version. You know what Paulie probably thinks of himself?
He's the fighter Paulie thinks he is.
Andy Cruz is the fighter that Paulie thinks he actually is. But anyways, yes, I hope he has a good career though. Yeah, I like Cuban fighters, and we're in this weird phase now and era in boxing where Cuba has allowed fighters to go pro, but the U.S. doesn't allow them to stay in Cuba.
I thought they ended that embargo years ago. Didn't they end that?
No, that's why they have to immigrate to another country.
You can go because my wife's a flight attendant, and you can fly to Cuba now.
No, you can travel to Cuba, but you can only travel to Cuba with a special visa. And it's actually easy to get. But the fighters, if you are a Cuban citizen, right, you grew up in the amateur system.
In the United States.
You want to work in the United States, but still be a Cuban citizen? No. That's not okay. You understand? So
kind of, yeah.
So at one point, it was a two-way street where Cuba did not allow their fighters to go from amateur to pro.
Right, I know that, yeah.
And then it was also the U.S. did not allow Cuban citizens to stay Cuban citizens, live in Cuba, and then fight in the U.S. They didn't allow that.
But this is what I mean by fake enemies. Why? For what reason? Any other country's fine. Any other country is fine, right? Just not that one. This is what I mean, though. It's ridiculous.
It was
amazing cigars. Don't pick that one.
If they have a vaccine for lung cancer, we can't have that.
Do it.
But last year, I think it was last year, the year before, Cuba rescinded that legislation on a ban on professional boxing on the island. So now they've allowed professional boxing, but the U.S. again does not allow a Cuban citizen to come and get a work visa in the U.S. You know how like we have fighters from Venezuela or Colombia and stuff come to the U.S. and they're allowed, in a sense, to get a work visa. Some of them just get work
like
around
Ukraine for sure.
Ukraine for sure, but Cuba, no, they're not. They're not allowed.
Because that's a missile testing site for Lockheed Martin that poses as a.
Anyways, digressing. Any other thoughts on Spence Crawford before I move to Canelo, David Benavidez?
There's so many good fighters in Cuba that would be good for American promoters. Like it doesn't. You're hurting yourself here by doing that, right? Like if American promoters can promote Cuban fighters, that's a heck of a lot of good fighters you can promote and make money on, which you can tax them and make more money off of. It doesn't benefit anyone to do that. Like it benefits nobody to do that. It doesn't benefit the fighters. It doesn't benefit Cuba. It doesn't benefit us. It doesn't benefit those in charge. Us as boxing fans. It doesn't benefit the U.S. government. It benefits nobody. There's zero benefit to anyone in doing that.
And I mean, purely from like a boxing industry standpoint, like if there wasn't that barrier between us and Cuba, like Cuba's infrastructure for boxing, if it had more like funding and material support, it would be the best in the world because they have kids at such a young age either go into boxing or like two other sports, and like that's their PE class from like all throughout elementary school. So you will like walk down Havana and see like PE teacher with like 12 kids, and they're all doing like the little like sparring like outdoors, you know. Like I just had friends in Cuba and they showed me videos of it, you know. So like that type of culture that is very much in line with boxing, it has a connection to it. We're disconnected from it in a large way, you know, and I think hurts us as an industry. Do
you remember my boy Alessandro Rigaccini that I used to talk about?
The Italian fighter that was on Match.
Okay.
Yes, you loved him.
Yeah, he used to go and live in Cuba. He could only stay for like 6 months at a time, right? So he would go into Cuba, do his camps, and then he would go fight in Mexico, right? And they would stay in Mexico for however long he had to, and then come back to Cuba and do his camps in Cuba. But he couldn't fight in America because he couldn't go from Cuba to America. How does that make any? So he's an Italian citizen who was just training in Cuba, but he couldn't go from Cuba to America, right? And he couldn't do camps in America either. Like he couldn't, you know what I'm saying? He couldn't go to America for sparring. Like he couldn't go to Miami for sparring. So he had to stay in Cuba, but he could go to Mexico. Right? It's like, how does this make any sense? So you get an Italian citizen who's, let's say, working in Cuba, but then he can't go to America?
Gary, get this. If you're another country, you're not Cuba, not America, you're another country, let's say Belgium or like France or some bullshit, right? And you're a French like corporation that's a shipping corporation. If you have one of your ships dock in a Cuban port, your entire company is blacklisted from the U.S. market.
But that's what I said. You're just creating fake enemies. That's all you're doing.
On that note, Gary, everyone check out me and Gary's debate on Trending Now Network. It was a very fun episode. On TikTok, it has like a few thousand views now, Gary. So we're getting TikTok famous. Okay, don't you worry.
Oh, there you go.
Even the commies are liking you, Gary. They thought you were very reasonable. Okay. But anyways, digressing, guys. Back to boxing, I guess. Back to boxing. Last topic of the night. Okay, gonna be a little bit of a short show. Canelo Alvarez has been offered $50 million by David Benavidez and Samson Lukowitz Boxing for a fight. Now, I want to remind everyone, and I actually had to be reminded of this as well. Tom Brown over at obviously Tom Brown Promotions and PBC saying that we offer Canelo $45 million for Charlo, $55 million for Spence at 164 or Benavidez at 168. And this was published May 2022. So over a year ago, this offer was sent out for $5 million more. Now, I have a few thoughts on why they're sort of undercutting the market value of Canelo. Obviously, he hasn't looked as good as of late. after this happened, he fought Bivol. And he looked bad in the Triple G fight. He looked bad in this fight. I think they are clearly seeing that maybe his ability has diminished. And on top of that, I don't think those numbers are doing that well for the Bivol fight, for the Triple G fight, or for this last fight with John Ryder's pay-per-view numbers. I think have declined. Obviously, the Triple G fight was like I think 500,000 pay-per-view buys, which good. But the first two fights were over 1 million. So it was a significant drop off from peak Canelo numbers. I don't know if anyone has any other thoughts about this. I hope it happens, though. I think this is a great fight. It's the only fight I really want to see for Canelo. I think it's one that he could lose. And it's Mexico versus Mexico. I mean, like the entire Southwest in the U.S. is going to be hyped for it. So I want it. I want to see it.
Or like really nervous because I'm Mexican. Like, but who do I go for?
Yeah, you gotta be careful.
The gin or whoa, you know what I mean? The ginger, or do I stick with the roots, or do I, you know what I mean? It's a little hard there for Mexicans. So
they both fly the same colors.
We don't like that, I don't think that's why we don't do that. Mexicans fighting Mexicans, we usually don't.
Did Barrera not fight Morales 3 times? In like 3 of the greatest fights ever?
That's beside
That's
the
what
point.
we need again.
No. You're saying Robert Guerrero, right?
Barrera and Morales.
Oh, sorry,
I was like Guerrero.
Sorry.
Whoa.
Oh, but that's different because like those guys weren't
because they were men. That's why it was different.
This is alleged.
Okay.
Canelo and Benavidez, I believe, have the same financial investors.
Okay. So
Barrera and Morales were from totally different
yes,
sides of Mexico, different classes in Mexico. Like they just represent different sides to the coin. So I think they had 2 legit different teams coming together to make those fights. I do kind of worry about like the backers from both of these guys, alleged, that it's the same backer. So maybe like they don't want to make the fight because it's one of their money makers losing against their other money maker.
Yeah,
that's my thought about it. And for those that are listening, read between the lines. Don't be dumb.
What lines? Just kidding.
That was kind of a double entendre there.
Yeah, those were the days when like fighters used to actually fight each other, but that was like so 1990s. Like now we just talk on the phone for an hour and a half.
Gary's that
Charles talked to Andre for like an hour and a half.
Are you talking about the 1900s,
Dude,
Gary?
Gary's complaining about matchups. We got Tank, Ryan Garcia. We're getting
Spence. Ryan Garcia. Best win.
What?
Blow me away. Has he fought Shakur Stevenson yet?
We're getting Fulton and Inoue.
Okay, A+.
What else are we getting? We got
that's it, right? Dude,
Fury Joshua.
Before we end the show, though, did you see the news? Gary Tank got arrested.
I saw he's going back to jail. They say he's spending the next 90 days or the rest of this 90-day sentence in jail. I don't know if that's true or not. I haven't confirmed that story anyway.
But Baltimore? That might be rough.
That'd be
like is he going to jail in Las Vegas, Cook County? That might be rough too. But I mean,
he's probably
Baltimore.
Safe.
It's a little rough.
He's probably safe. Al Heyman has.
He's definitely safe. I know that.
They'll put him. He's gonna have to they'll put him in a minimum security cell, right? Like they'll probably put him by himself because he's Tank Davis, like they did with Floyd. I mean, he's not going to be with the general population being who he is. I don't think, right? It's not like he's in there for 10 years for manslaughter, right? He's going to be in there for a couple, a month or two. The rest of his 90-day sentence.
Taller than him there.
And there was another piece of news, wasn't there?
Ryan Garcia and Oscar, did you see them squabbling on Twitter today?
I saw some of it. I saw basically
Ryan's with Derek James now. What y'all think of that?
Yeah, cool. Back in Texas. I just don't think it's gonna work out. I don't think Ryan's can.
He's Amir Khan.
Yeah, we're just not gonna make it,
But
there was the funny thing that Oscar's just out and about, just fucking spreading news out. He's just decided to give the Spence news. Spence got a new manager. Just
and Spence is like, no, I don't have a new manager.
Can you shut up? Al Heyman is in charge of my career.
And then with Ryan, he basically said, I think Ryan was.
Ryan
I didn't see it, but Ryan was basically saying that he shouldn't have got the fight or something like that.
No. I think it was. I took a screenshot. Hold on, let's see.
Because I saw Oscar's response, which was like, Ryan has a bunch of people that tell him like negative stuff.
This one it says What the fuck, Ryan? It's been 2 months and you're still crying about the post presser. The blame for your loss is on you and your advisor,
I didn't see that.
he is the only one who pushed you to accept that insane rehydration clause. And then Ryan said, okay, buddy, you got it all figured out. I'm tired of you disrespecting my whole career and you think none of it matters. Loyalty and common sense is lost in your head. Stop treating people the way you and think they will just accept it. That was a couple of hours ago.
So Ryan and his promoter beefing.
Good stuff, man.
Fighters, don't sign long-term promotional agreements. That's my big advice.
Unless it's a promotion that I work on. I mean,
is Ryan Garcia the best lightweight in that camp?
Which camp?
Derek James.
Oh, Derek James.
What are the lightweights?
Frank Martin.
Well, one, Ryan might be moving up, so
I know. So he's definitely moving up, right? So
loophole. No, I probably pick Frank Martin.
Yeah, me too.
Fight. Yeah, like Ryan still isn't bad. He just has a weak chin, in my opinion. Like Ryan still is really good. He just can't take a puncher, in my view. And I don't know, is Frank Martin really that much?
He's not feather fisted, but he's not a puncher.
Yeah. But anyways, back to David Benavidez Canelo. Do we think it's gonna happen?
No.
God, you guys are so negative.
I don't know. 50 million is a lot, right? If Canelo loses, and I'm not saying I think Canelo could win that fight. I know like other people just writing him off completely. Benavidez is flawed. He still crosses his feet like an amateur. They just hit him when he crosses his feet.
He does have pigeon toed.
Right? Like he makes a lot of rookie mistakes in there. So I think Canelo could beat him, but if Canelo loses, it's kind of it for Canelo at that level, right?
Let it go. We gotta let it go. We gotta let the Canelo craze go if he would lose to Benavidez, which is why I don't want the fight to happen at all.
Because he's gonna lose.
I just don't want it to happen at all.
Because he will lose.
I just don't. I'd rather it to be I need it to be a story. Another story.
I think people are disrespecting Canelo by writing him off as if he can't beat Benavidez. He absolutely can beat Benavidez. I'm not saying he's going to, but Benavidez is flawed. Like everyone's saying, because Caleb Plant fought him exactly the wrong way. So that he's going to do to Canelo what he did to Caleb Plant. It's like, no, if Canelo hits you, he's going to keep you off of him. Caleb Plant couldn't do that, right? Like Canelo can out jab him. Canelo can win points. And Benavidez just can't break him down like he did to Caleb Plant. He can't just walk through his shots and get to Canelo and hit him to the body and bust him in the arms and just break him down. You can't do that to Canelo. Canelo can win this fight. Like I understand what Benavidez did to Caleb Plant, but it's two different animals entirely.
I think we're gonna be surprised by how good Benavidez is in this fight.
How good he's gonna look against Canelo.
Yeah, I think people like Gary, which I understand that opinion of like Canelo.
I love he's more Canelo.
Canelo's a complete fighter. Benavidez has flaws. I get all of that, and you're technically right. But there's something about Benavidez where like
when he's in his element, he's extremely technically sound.
Yes, and he's hard to hit.
I just don't think I know I've seen Canelo in with tall fighters. I just don't think Benavidez is.
It's a little bit like Shakur Stevenson, where like when Shakur's like walking down a fighter and it's just mean, it's aggressive, and like there's moments where like it's flawless too, where like he is moving in, and he's slipping shots and barely slipping them, but it's all perfect, and he's setting up counters. Benavidez does that in a more ugly fashion. A little more rough on the edges, but he does that.
Right.
Benavidez will start walking down and stalking opponents, and he gets that mean phase, that aggression, and it becomes flawless aggression in its way. And Canelo used to have that in a way. It's gone.
It's crazy because it's almost like in Benavidez's brother that it was almost too much. Jose, he couldn't control it, whereas his brother David can control it.
Another thing too is like I think their style that's a little bit more slappy with their shots.
Yes.
Like David Benavidez, his body, his physique, his stature fits that style. And for Jose, I felt like he was way too long and on.
So scrappy.
And it was just too much.
Every fight he was in is so scrappy.
It would leave him open because he was facing guys that were more compact than he was. but David is far more defensively sound. David can get back on a Philly shell and slip shots, absorb shots, roll over shots. When Jose couldn't do that, he wasn't defensive. He couldn't get in that flawless aggression like Shakur or David can. He wasn't like that. But maybe that's hyperbolic. I understand. I've always been a David Benavidez fan. But I think people will be surprised by how good he looks, and I think he wins. I think this fight happens. I think Benavidez wins, and it's a big
this year.
Yes, this year, and it's a big coming out. I think it's on Mexican Independence Day. It might be in Mexico, but most likely it's in Vegas because of the people we're talking about.
It's too big of a fight not to put in Vegas. There's just too much money to put it in Vegas.
So I think it's potentially fight of the year. In a fight of Spence Crawford, in a year of Spence Crawford, a year of Tank Ryan, Benavidez Canelo might supplant it. And it might be shocking in a similar way to when like Canelo fought Chavez Jr. and it did over 1 million pay-per-view buys, and we're all like, wait, like why? Like this is one of those fights that's going to surprise us in terms of the money, but it's also going to be a great fight. It's a great matchup. I'm very excited for it.
It does more pay-per-view buys than Crawford Spence, right?
Maybe. Crawford Spence is an anomaly. Like that could do 2 million.
Yeah.
Like
it's a whole I just think it's a whole
It's one of those like every network that talks about sports has talked about that fight. Like ESPN has talked about that fight. Like
I think but it hits a whole other culture
FS1.
that boxing sometimes doesn't even hit. You know what I mean? Like it's the whole black culture.
Mm-hmm.
It's gonna take that alone.
They're gonna gravitate towards it in a way similar to like Tank Ryan,
right? But we're Tank supporters. But no, like Crawford.
But this fight, Porter. Like it's gonna galvanize the community even more because like they have two people to pick.
This is huge.
You know, for those that it's a weird reference. I know for maybe you guys don't get it, but like in the UFC, the first time they ever had like two black fighters against each other in the main event was Rampage Jackson versus Rashad Evans. Light heavyweight title, big deal, and it did over 1 million pay-per-view buys at the time. And both guys were not that level of a draw, so it overexceeded in a large way. This one's a little bit like that, where both guys by themselves, not that big of a draw.
What are you kidding me? Crawford's a pay-per-view monster.
Gary, what was that?
Crawford's a pay-per-view monster.
Monster. He did 50,000.
Victor Postal fight.
With Victor Postal. Then he did 100,000. What was his next pay-per-view fight?
Amir Khan.
He did 100,000 with Amir Khan.
That was great.
Yeah.
That was
I
amazing.
love that fight.
That was amazing.
I really did like that.
What did he do with Porter? Did he do a decent number with Porter?
It was like in the 200,000 range.
I don't know. I was there.
Yeah.
And then like Porter's not
there.
Porter's not a star like Spence is. You know, like Spence has like an attention on him that's different. Even though Spence isn't like a talker.
Oh no, I love
people like Spence. People pay attention to him. When I like watch like let's say like
I love him.
Hip hop or rap content that sometimes talks about boxing. Earl Spence is a name that gets brought up.
They've done a good job because he doesn't talk at all. Like when was the last time you saw an Errol Spence interview? Right, like he doesn't talk.
I saw him on a podcast, but he was mostly like sitting back, happy as a clam.
Yeah, at that point, you're having him on just for the name, not for like the great material he's going to give you, right? Like he really doesn't talk at all. Like he's always been like that. And they've made it. They've turned him into a star. Like he's got star power. Like your casual sports fan is well aware of Errol Spence. So they've done a good job with selling him.
Any final thoughts, guys? Let's get out of here. My final thoughts before we get out. I'm excited for Spence Crawford. I think it's going to happen. I know Gary's a little bit like, I'm still skeptical. Like, one could slip on a banana peel. But, like, I think this fight's going to happen. I'm very excited for it.
Spence Crawford?
Yeah.
I hope. I can only hope.
Exactly. That's all we can.
Let's pray to the gods.
Excited to see Clarissa Shields this weekend. I feel like we haven't seen her in a fight in some time, to be quite honest. It feels like it's been a minute. And she looked stunning at the press conference, truly. So
beautiful.
She's really grown into herself as a fighter, as a human being, as a woman. It's great to see.
Beautiful bank
account. Benavidez, Canelo. I mean, that's like the fight. Of all the fights that we're getting this year,
You just want it to
might-
be announced or what?
Yeah,
Like, what do you think's gonna happen until
No, no,
next week? We're coming back next week, man. What do you think's gonna happen?
Maybe we hear that Canelo send a counter offer, or that
I guess anyway, a counter offer. You think he's really gonna go for a counter offer, Benavidez? At this point, he's $5 million down from last year. You know what I mean? Like,
no Canelo.
no, I mean Benavidez.
No, I said Canelo's going to send a counter offer.
Of what?
He won $60 million.
We're already down from last year. You want us to go more? Come on, that's crazy. What's gonna happen next week? Nothing. We're not gonna hear no fucking news.
We might. Optimism is key. Melody.
Sorry.
Okay.
Therapist.
I am Matthew Hunter. Follow me, Matt Hunter, MCR, all social media platforms. Links down below in the description. Melody, final thoughts. Let people know where to find you.
Find me at the Beauty of Boxing as usual. But that's about it. I don't have any final thoughts about boxing. We'll see Madi on Saturday.
And we'll see you next week. That's true. So.
And next week. So
yeah. Gary, any final thoughts? Let people know where to find you.
Find me at all forms at 3D Boxing blog. Also, you can go to my channel, Texas Boxing Scene, on YouTube. As far as final thoughts, I'm thinking that Spence Crawford is more likely than not going to happen. So I'm not convinced of it. I wouldn't bet the ranch on it, but I'm more than 50% on that it will happen. Like maybe like 55%. I'm still skeptical of it. Yeah, Clarissa Shields. It's her weekend. There's nothing really else. So Clarissa Shields, balls in your court, kid. Make this good. You got the whole boxing world on you because there's really nothing else this weekend. It's June 1st already, and Texas is still not a country. Let's make Texas a country, Ken. From Texas to the world, thank you, and God bless.
I want to remind everyone to check out Gary and mine debate on communism. It was very fun. It was our 5th debate, I think, in total. First time in a while over on Trending Now Network. Definitely check it out. Podcast also on Trending Now Network if you want to check that out. Like I said, Gary, Texas Boxing Scene, Melody at the Beauty of Boxing. You're watching Mixed Combat Radio. Hit the like button, subscribe, all that fun stuff. Peace.